How do I, 22F, talk to my boyfriend, 21M, about a small habit without seeming crazy? I feel crazy. TL, DR. This habit makes me feel off, and I can't properly put it into words, so could I please have help on communicating this topic to him? This has come up a few times and always makes me feel weird. Been together 7 months. I'll give examples. 1. We were talking about clothing. I mentioned in my school uniform. We live in England. I went to an all-girls grammar school. He went to an all-boys grammar. I mentioned we had shoulder pads in our blazers. He says, why would a girls' school have shoulder pads in their blazers? I said, I'm not entirely sure, but I assume for structure. He said, but shoulder pads are meant to make shoulders look broad, which is a masculine feature to show strength and power for men, so why would a girls' school have them? I said, okay, but we had them on ours as well. I'm pretty sure it was just for structure, like women's in the 80s. He then said, huh, and shrugged. I can't place the emotion, but it made me feel negative. Like, no, not huh. I just answered your question. 2. Another scenario, he had remembered something incorrectly, which happens a lot. I told him he was wrong. It was about me inviting him to an event. He first said I didn't mention it. Then he said I did, but he thought I was going with friends. I was very sure I had invited him, but he was adamant. He even said, it's kind of you to think of me, sweetheart, but I thought you were going with your friends. You didn't invite me. I then found the text where I had invited him. I did it through speech prior to the text as well. He said he missed it, etc., that he was thinking of a different conversation, that I was then upset with him for not believing me until I found evidence, rather than just believing my word. He said I didn't sound sure of myself, but more importantly, he said, so you want me to believe what you say as fact even though my own memory is telling me something else is true, and I couldn't say anything to that. 'Cause it's right, how can I expect him to believe me over his own memory? But the thing is I was right, his memory was wrong. I'll only argue it if he's wrong. 3. Sometimes I'll say something about how I think or feel or an experience, and he'll say he knows someone else or other people who think differently, and be confused about it. And it's just like, okay, well now what? Similarly, we were walking behind a girl wearing leggings, and he said, I wonder why women wear things like that to the gym, but then get annoyed that men look at them. Huh, with the confused huh in the same tone. But it's not like he's asking me, it feels like he's thinking, aloud, to himself, and is stumped and confused and chooses to move on. Like he's thinking aloud about something that mystifies him, and I just happen to be there. This is an issue that I can't properly put into words, and I feel like I'm overreacting, but it is upsetting, and I feel upset and told him as much, but don't know how to properly communicate why I feel or what it even is. I feel crazy. You're with someone who goes around judging women and not listening to the women in his life. Do you know what kind of person that is? He's telling you he believes his opinion, impression, interpretation, and memory of things is always better than yours/women's generally unless you can concretely prove otherwise to his satisfaction. Do with that what you will. Girl, he's showing you plain and true that he doesn't respect women. This will not get better, it will get worse. Put the boyfriend in the trash and dip out, babe. How should I, 35M, manage my relationship with my parents, 67F, 63M, after overhearing them speak contemptuously about my partner, 34F, and me? Hi everyone, I'm looking for advice on how to manage my relationship with my parents going forward. I'm a 35M, my partner is 34F, and my parents are 67F mother and 63M father. Until recently, I had a very good relationship with my parents. We were close, they were supportive, and I genuinely believed they loved and respected both me and my partner. Because of that, what happened has deeply affected me and changed how I see them. First situation, a few months ago. I was at my parents' house talking about a work issue. I shared my opinion about working extra hours. My partner made a very small and respectful gesture, showing she didn't fully agree. Nothing verbal, nothing rude. Simply because she was concerned about me being exhausted. She's a very respectful person. We went downstairs, but I forgot something and went back up with my partner. Without meaning to, she overheard a private conversation between my parents in the kitchen, door closed, where they were speaking negatively about her. My father said, in a clearly dismissive tone, things like, always making faces, very well-mannered, but... This hurt us deeply. At that time, my partner was pregnant, and we truly believed my parents adored her. They had always told us how much they loved her and how happy they were with her. Hearing this caused a huge disappointment and broke something inside us. I confronted them later. They tried to minimize it, but admitted it wasn't right. Second situation, a few days ago, much worse. We now have a newborn baby who is just 1 week old. She was born with very low birth weight and needs extra care and protection. A few days ago, there was a serious situation in our apartment building. Firefighters and police arrived due to a suspected gas leak. We were scared and didn't know what to do with a newborn at home. A firefighter came to our door and told us to stay inside because of the gas smell. We saw neighbors leaving and were unsure if it was safe to go down with the baby. My parents live on the same street, very close. I sent them photos and videos and asked if they could go down to the building entrance to see what was happening and tell us if it was safe to leave with the baby. I even wanted to go down myself, but my partner asked me not to leave her alone with the baby. Eventually, we had to leave the apartment and go down the stairs with the baby stroller because the elevator wasn't working. Later, I discovered that a voicemail recording of my parents' conversation had been accidentally saved. Listening to it completely broke me. In the recording, my mother says things like, translated, oh my God, sending messages all the time. Can't he just go down to the entrance? Can't he even step out to ask what's going on? For God's sake, what a person. A phrase my parents use in a clearly contemptuous and dismissive way, implying criticism and disdain, not something neutral or affectionate. My father could be heard in the background agreeing and laughing ironically. This devastated me. I have never spoken about my parents this way, nor thought of them with contempt. Until then, I believed they loved me deeply and supported me. Hearing this shattered the image I had of them and made me question everything. I feel like my idealized view of them collapsed. I confronted them again, this time very angry and in the heat of the moment. My father told me not to get worked up. Again, they tried to minimize it. My mother later sent me a WhatsApp message asking for forgiveness and saying she loves me. Since then, a couple of days, we haven't spoken. They were very excited to be first-time grandparents and wanted to see the baby, but right now I don't feel capable of having a relationship with them like before. My question is, how would you recommend managing a relationship with parents after trust and respect have been damaged like this? What kind of boundaries or distance would be reasonable while still leaving room for a possible future relationship? Too long did not read, : I overheard my parents speaking contemptuously about my partner and me on 2 occasions, including during a frightening emergency involving our newborn. They minimized it afterward, and I'm struggling with how to manage the relationship going forward. I would go LC with them after I confronted them. In my opinion, wow, that's a lot to unpack. Sounds like you need a real heart-to-heart with him about future plans, Fr. SSD. LOL I'm. M pupa. ML. I'm layup. Oh. Bikik MMOS. My 23F, fiancé, 24M, has been unemployed for 2 years. My partner has been unemployed for nearly 2 years. We have been together for 3 years, since we were just beginning our last years of college. After we finished, we moved together to a different city as I got a job there. He looked for work while we were there, didn't find any. I left that job after 1 year, and we had to move back in with my parents as I couldn't pay rent. His parents paid for his half of the rent. He was on the benefit then, and is on the benefit now. After 6 months off, job made my mental health spiral. Seeing him sitting around home doing nothing didn't help me feel better. I started a master's degree. I am now 6 months through that. I got a part-time job with my university. I have also had a job offer for when I finish my degree at the end of the year. All of this time, my partner has been looking for jobs. I get the economy has been bad, but he just sits around and plays video games. He does chores for my parents like the dishwasher, etc., but complains about it. I don't know what to do. Other than this, he is lovely and kind and was my dream man. Now I feel like I'm just trying to get away from him. He doesn't hang out with friends, volunteer, sign up to a job agency, even though I suggested these things to him many times. Before Christmas, I said to him, promise me you will go back to university to do your master's if you don't get a job over Christmas. I brought this up with him again recently. He has not signed up, and said to me, how will we move out if I go back to university? I replied, how will we move out at all at this point? I feel so heartbroken and hopeless. I'm thinking about asking him to go on a break, and suggest he stays with his parents for a while until he sorts out what he really wants to do. But I'm worried as well as he gets angry and upset with every time I mention the job situation, saying things like, Do you want to see how many jobs I've applied for, etc.? I do want the relationship to work, but at the same time so resentful of him in a way I can't explain, but at the same time may be hard to repair. Also, I was hoping we would get married this year at some point. It won't happen if our relationship remains stagnant like this. Any suggestions on what I should do? Too long did not read. Fiancé has been unemployed for 2 years and refuses to return to university. Otherwise, he's a very good partner, but the relationship is stagnating and I don't know what to do. Thank you for any advice. You can find someone who can get a job. Sounds like a pet or a child, not a partner. Next time he asks if you want to see how many jobs he has applied for, just say yes. His minimum at 2 years should be 7,300 job applications equals 10 per day. My fiancé, 31M, proposed knowing my visa is expiring, but now says he's not ready, looking for advice. I, 29F, and my fiancé, 31M, have been together for 2 years and are currently engaged. I'm a foreigner living in the US, and my visa is expiring soon. Throughout our relationship, we have discussed marriage and my visa situation many times. In the past, he told me he wasn't ready for marriage, and I respected that and did not pressure him. This past New Year, he decided to propose. I was surprised and genuinely happy, and I believed that the proposal meant he felt ready and confident about marrying me, especially knowing how serious my visa situation is. However, not long after proposing, he told me that he still needs more time before committing to marriage. This has left me feeling confused and emotionally overwhelmed. I want to be clear that I am not trying to get married just for a visa. If marriage doesn't happen, I fully intend to return to my home country rather than overstay or put myself in legal trouble. The only reason I want to stay is because I love him and want to build a life together. At the same time, staying in the US without legal stability, without being able to work, and without knowing how long I would be waiting feels very risky. I also don't want him to feel pressured or to marry me out of obligation. I'm from Thailand, and if I return home, coming back to the US in the future would not be easy and could take a very long time. I would really appreciate advice or perspectives from anyone who has navigated mismatched readiness or immigration-related pressure in a relationship. Too long did not read. I, 29F, am engaged to my fiancé, 31M. He proposed knowing my US visa is expiring, but after the proposal he says he still needs more time before committing to marriage. I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this situation while balancing my relationship, legal status, and personal well-being. Do not get deported because of him. Buy a flex ticket home. Tell him you bought a ticket back and you are leaving unless married. He will either marry you right now or you go back. Do not overstay your visa. If you overstay, you will not be allowed back, at least for 10 years. So time to let go of the relationship and make your plans to go back home for now.